Hello and welcome to the Map Your Purpose podcast. My name is Aurelia. I am a life purpose and mindset coach. I am dedicated to help you live a life of alignment and fulfillment. I use an earth and sky approach to help you bridge your day-to-day life with self-discovery and spiritual concepts. So hop on board and let's start a journey of self-exploration, empowerment and self-love so you can live a life aligned with your true purpose and your true self. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Map Your Purpose podcast. Today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome, insecurities, and releasing energies to better manifest. That's a big program. Let's get started. So the main reason why I decided to talk about that, though actually I almost recorded another episode about mindset, and then I thought they were quite related, but I ended up deciding to do two different episodes because I kind of wanted to focus on the imposter syndrome, working on the insecurity. So the other episode is why working on your mindset, and this one is more about how. And also the magical manifestation. So it's an Earth and Sky podcast today. So talking about imposter syndrome. So the term of imposter syndrome is really new to me. I don't think I heard about it until I'd say 2 or 3 years ago. I never heard of it before, and when I heard of it, I was just like, well, that's interesting. That does make a lot of sense. And I have felt that before. And also, what I thought is that it's probably something that most people, and at least most women, and I know that because I know that's really affecting women a lot, but not only. We have felt in the past, or at least once, there is this question about, yes, am I worthy? Am I good enough? Is it the vision of what people are thinking that I should be doing? Or that what I should be? And yeah, that's it. It's just the idea of maybe being successful by being yourself, and you're thinking, is myself enough? And the reason why I thought it's quite important is because often being successful looks like something. It looks like a person, because we've been drawn all our lives with medias, pictures, TV shows, human books, why not? And you know what? And every time it is that perfect person, that person that looks a certain way, that person that behaves a certain way, that person who who shows that, you see them, or you see them, or you meet them and you're just like, oh, they're meant to be successful. The number of time in my life, or even everyone in your life, have heard dress for success, so that idea of dressing for success just mean like you need to look a certain way to be successful. And everyone had that. So for the longest time is also to be a man, to be masculine, to be a certain age. So at some point when I was younger, I guess it was probably like, oh, you need to be, like you need to have experience, like you need to build your experience. And at some point it kind of shifted, and it's like, who, like this person is less than 30-year old, or she's just that age, or he's just like a young lad, and they're being successful and they're doing so much. Like, look at that drive. And if you're over that age, you're just like, oh shit, so did I miss the mark? And I think And I think that's the thing. Like the imposter syndrome is not fitting. So that's how I would interpret it. But it's just not fitting to that idea or to that ideal of success that others have built around you. And basically the image of success that you think that you should be like. And so so there is a lot of coaching programs that are focusing on discussing about imposter syndrome. I talk about it in the mindset part of the purpose map. And the idea is that, the reason why I feel like it's just so important to specifically focus on it is just because you will always have that idea that you're not ready, that someone is going to do better, that someone is going to be smarter, that someone is going to look more beautiful, and they're going to be that picture perfect of success. And you're just going to go ahead and compare yourself with them and think, I need to be more of this to be able to succeed. Well, guess what? You don't. And really, what you need to do to be able to be successful is just being yourself. And also, I want to say something. Success does not mean the same thing for everyone. For some people, success is just going to be, I don't know, like the way they're living their life the way they want to. So having a house, a family home, and being able to pay their job, their bills, and then spending the most of time with their family. For others, success is going to be, well, getting that C-level job. For other, success is going to be building their own company. For other, success is going to be being that amazing. Well, you know what? I kind of don't even know the word so much. I'm not into sports, but okay, someone very successful in sports. So it's just success is what sounds good to you. And it can mean so many things. Like you cannot look like somebody else. And also you just can't. You just can only be yourself. And that's very funny. Like someone not so long ago was telling me, well, you kind of have to be okay with yourself because that's the person you need to be spending the most of time with, like for all your life. You is the person you're going to be ending your life with. That's the only person that you actually have to live with 24/7. So you better like yourself. And that's that. And really, if you start liking yourself a bit more, then the imposter syndrome is going to be more and more of a far away feeling. And the other thing I want to say, so in the other episode, I talk about mindset and the importance of having it, just because of working on mindset, because one, it's going to be something that you'd be able to recognize the trigger, and that's something that you will always take away with you. Like you will always be able to know, okay, right now I'm doing some negative talking because I feel that I am not worthy of. And um, and the other reason why is also the fact that you always have to do that work, but then once you have the tool, it's just easier. It just goes faster. And and really about that, the imposter syndrome, if you work on your mindset, if you're actually able to know that you're having that imposter syndrome, that you have that moment of, because obviously you're not thinking, oh, I have imposter syndrome. You're thinking, oh, what's gonna happen? What's happening is just like, you're thinking of starting your business and you're thinking, well, I don't have the diplomas. Like some people have studied more, they have the money of their parents or the support, or they've been surrounded by entrepreneurs all their lives. And you're thinking and you're feeling like an imposter at that moment. And obviously you might not identify it and you're not thinking, oh, I'm an imposter, but really is the kind of doubts that are overwhelming you and that might eventually create procrastination or or burnout because you will want to overdo. You're going to be for some people that's going to be depression because they're just going to be stay paralyzed. They're going to be staying in that place where they're just not moving forward because they're either staying at the idea stage or they just saying, oh well, I've done my bit and I'm in my day-to-day life. I don't need to go and look for more because I just might be disappointed because I'm just not enough. So all these things are just beyond important to be recognized. And that's why I wanted to do that specific episode around imposter syndrome rather than re-recording the mindset one. Because eventually, most people know about it now, but eventually you do not even question that you have an imposter syndrome. You do not even question that other people might have an imposter syndrome. And that's another thing about doing mindset work is also to be able to support people around you that might be struggling with some things that might affect their well-being. And and that's all coming back to insecurities. Like sometimes I'm having that phase. Like I do have this phase. I do still have it sometimes. Um, as I was saying in my other episode, is that mostly I can identify it. That's the thing. But sometimes I do have these things. And the funny thing is that what happened is that if you're thinking of it, that's just what happens. That's the results that's going to wait for you on the corner of the road. That's when you actually fail at something because potentially you just self sabotage yourself. You just self sabotage. You just think, oh well, I cannot do it. I was too stressed. I was not prepared enough. And that's just the thing. That's what's going to result from that mindset. And that's really important as well to understand that is the effect after that. And how you're going to respond because potentially you're going to be in a position where you feel like you're failing or not doing well enough because you already have that imposter syndrome in place, and because of that you just really want to prove it right, basically. The other thing is that potentially even if you have the mindset and that something is not going well, you'll be able to know how to respond. And if you're not doing it, then potentially you will be overwhelmed with the drama. Um, and that's just so important to be also able to know how to respond. So something didn't go the way you wanted to, that just does not question your worth. It just does not question the fact that you are worthy of success. It does not question the fact that you are good enough. It does not question the fact that you have done well enough. It might just mean you need redirection. And it's okay to need redirection. I used to be so crippled with anxiety, so crippled with it. Like thinking that I was not saying the right words, so thinking that I wouldn't be saying the right word if I was speaking, thinking that I was not appreciated, thinking that I was unable to be doing things that will make me be seen and appreciated and valued. I just wanted to be playing small just because I had that massive imposter syndrome where I was just like, I don't think that I can do well, so I'd rather not try to do more than I am currently doing. I want to do very well what I'm currently doing now, and then maybe later when I'll feel ready and then I'll prove myself and then I would gain more confidence and I'll gain more experience. But the thing is that it was just never ending. I always wanted to gain more experience. I just always wanted to gain more exposure. Always wanted to gain um, more knowledge. Like there was always something that I could do to be closer to it. Like more training, like more experience, like the number of time that I restarted to zero when I actually had really good experience just show the fact that I had that massive imposter syndrome. And you know what I've also noticed, and that's just not pointing finger, is that the more you're having it, the more some people are just going to I don't want to put bad intentions behind some people, but people are just going to keep playing around it. They'll be expecting you to be more again and be play and just be pressing, like pushing that specific button because it just works with you. And it might feel cruel to say that, but it's a bit true. Because well, at the end of the day, if you can do more, if they can show you that probably they have that power, that experience, if basically they can work their limiting beliefs and reflect them on you, if they haven't done the mindset work, then it's just gonna happen. So it's also a way to protect yourself to be able to actually identify it. So actually just talk about protecting yourself around it and manifest and just releasing the negative energies. So um, there are multiple ways to do it. Obviously, there is all the mindset work. So working with a coach, or like we're covering it in the purpose map, where basically we're going through techniques. But there are simple things that you can do at home, such as affirmations. There is a podcast, I cannot remember who's doing it, but there is a podcast where basically it's just 5 minutes, 5 minutes of daily morning affirmation every day. You can write them, you can listen to them, you can just read them as well. You can just have them on a paper and just have it in front of you and just read it. I do love myself hearing them because it kind of put me in a meditative state. And sometimes when I feel like I need an extra push, then I would write them. Sometimes I just do both. So releasing energies on that is just, of course, there is the idea of writing affirmation, but there is also the question of what do you want to release, and you can also write it down. I was telling to someone this week, and you know what? Like, that's actually really funny. Is I don't think it's someone particularly spiritual or whatever, but I was just like, you know what? You just you just put it on a piece of paper. You just put what you want to release. You after that you just either burn it, you tear it apart, you put it in water, you just leave it there. It doesn't matter. The importance is the intention that you're putting on it, and every time you want to release, if you identify the thing that you want to release, just do not keep it bottled up. Write it down, shut it down, sing it. I don't know, you can shout it. I don't know, whatever works for you, just do it. as long as you're putting the right intention on it. Obviously, do not cause harm to anyone. Um, just really important. Do not cause harm to anyone. But really, the part of releasing energies is just so important. There are multiple things that are working. Sometimes if you're very much into the spiritual side of things, you can work with the moon. You can work with herb medicine. There's like a lot of things working on that sense. Crystal. If not, then obviously that's going to be about the mindset work, and then it's just overcoming the blocks and trying to identify them, and just really like releasing it the way that it works. Like for some people, there is also the idea of movement. In movement, you're releasing energies. Is just actually helping you. It's just helping you a bit like when you're doing sport, like it just release the right endorphins just to help you feeling better, and you just release it. The limitation with this is that you still need to face it. You still need to be really aware. It shouldn't remove the awareness of what's causing you the insecurities. So just giving a random example, if I'm feeling very frustrated by a situation at work, caused by a certain person, then if I go and do I don't know, some sports or just do some dancing, I'm gonna feel better on the moment. But eventually, I'm going to have to face or to be able to know how to respond in this kind of situation or in front of this person if they keep triggering me. So, yes, movement works, but in the meantime, it does still need to be supported by mindset work, whether it is shadow work, whether it is inner child work. There are lots of techniques that can be covered, NLP, EFT. A lot of it can be covered, and it's always going to depend of you basically. So I'm just putting it out there. Just make sure that you're not putting your hand in the sand. And basically, the result of releasing energies after that is also that it's just gonna go away. Why I'm gonna say that? Because I just don't want to say, "Hey, do your mindset work," but why do you want to do that? Just because eventually it can unblock a situation for you, either because you will know how to respond, either because eventually that's going to move more positively the energies in your direction. You're going to remove the blocks in your aura. So still a bit into my into the sky side, but if you're not into that spiritual side, it can anyway still only help you, just because at least you will not cause more frustration that can be very negative for your body and your mind. So that was an imposter syndrome and insecurities episode, and we've covered also how to the idea of releasing energies. So obviously, there are multiple techniques that we can use. I was mentioning inner child, shadow work. So these are things that we can dig into another episode. But first of all, I wanted to bring up why doing it and when doing it. I'll see you for the next episode.
Thank you for listening this episode of the Map Your Purpose podcast. If you like the content, don't hesitate to subscribe, like, or share. Head to the website to learn more about the Purpose Map programs, and I look forward to having you for the next episode.